Well, usually I get a countdown. It didn't give it to me this time, but anyways, how's it going, man?
I'm doing awesome, Richard. Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Minutes Wisely, we kind of shifted a little bit. We used to be called the Scuttlebutt Podcast, and I used to have a co-host, and we kind of went our separate ways. Now I just named it after the nonprofit that I started a couple years ago, Minutes Wisely. Tomorrow Needs You, Minutes Wisely podcast. So I just sit around and talk to veterans. It's one of my favorite things to do. So, greetings, man. Thank you for joining us.
No, it's great to be here and talk to another fellow vet. I spend a lot of my days talking to veterans, and always happy to talk to another one, and happy to add value to your listenership any way I can today.
Yeah, it's awesome. Let me see here. Would you like to introduce yourself? Like, where'd you come from? Your name, rank, serial number.
Yeah, so my mom and dad met back in 1960. Wait a minute, we're not going that far back, but yeah, I'm well, it was a late night. They had a few. No, wait a minute. We're not getting all the way back to like how it happened. I think we all know. But all joking aside, I'm a husband of pushing 30 years, father of 21 years. Got out all my uniforms. I was part-time citizen soldier in the Army National Guard Military Police. Full-time as a corrections sergeant and deputy sheriff. Got all the uniforms in 1999. Got into sales management, became a sales executive, and then ultimately a business owner several times over. Exited my last big company in 2011, an energy efficient remodeling business in the Great White North of Minneapolis, St. Paul. And after selling my company, I started helping other entrepreneurs with their business. So I've been a leadership management expert, coach, author, speaker, all around, annoying know-it-all guy who, doesn't run companies, but tells people how to run theirs. And then recently I've gotten re-entrepreneurial, and I've partnered with a software company, and I've, helped them kind of bring a product to market. And then I'm the CEO and founder of Business Sergeant. And Business Sergeant is a brand that places veterans into veteran-friendly companies. So we're recruiters. We also do some team building, some speaking, and then some training, leadership training. But the recruiting is the biggest part of the business. And we just find folks that appreciate accountability, discipline, just good old fashioned figure it the F out type people. And we place those into roles many times with no industry experience. And the sales pitch that I give to CEOs are, listen, our people can figure out what you guys do in a quarter or two. Your best leader wouldn't survive an afternoon with our guys. So that's the difference here. So stop trying to send your people to leadership school and hire people that have already gone to all of them and
Right.
practice it in the real world. So we're able to get veterans a few extra bucks and a boss that fully understands who they are, what they bring to the table, and welcomes their skill set. So it's a win-win for the company. It's obviously a win for the vet because they're appreciated, and it's a win for us because, getting to help both of those people is what fulfills our mission.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you're placing veterans because they have all the experience in the world, and it gets overlooked in the corporate world.
Hugely, quite frankly. And people are like, oh, do they all have PTSD? Are they going to be yelling? Or will there be push-ups at the office? And you're like, no, you're thinking of a drill sergeant. R. Lee Ermey, bless his heart, that iconic, gunny role that he had in Full Metal Jacket. But basically, when people think military, they see, the best part of you ran down the crack of, that whole conversation.
Yeah.
And the reality is like my business partner, Michael Casella, has only been out of the Army for 2 years, and he spent over 20 years in the Special Forces, and he was a Chief Warrant Officer 3, Silver Star, Purple Heart. He was a medic, and then became an intelligence sergeant, and then a detachment assistant detachment commander, and then he got up to the battalion level as a 3 and was targeting. So he has access to all the special operators and the special operations division. He runs that. And then we have a host of other veterans, Marine veterans, Air Force, Army. We're a ragtag bunch of people. But, we open with everyone needs a Green Beret. You got a problem in your warehouse, you just put one of those there. And 3 months later, everyone's doing awesome. And some people probably don't work there. But there's not going to be yelling. There's going to be quiet confidence. There's going to be leadership by example. And, it's not what you think. And once people kind of understand that, And let's just take a special operator, a 20-year special operator. We're talking 4, 5, $6 million has been invested in their training.
Right.
And it's mostly people skills, Richard. You know what I mean? And whether they're deposing governments with farmers, or going into the financial industry or the construction industry to be a project manager or to be the chief operating officer or integrator to a small business, like all that stuff that they had to learn is absolutely 100% applicable, minus the killing people and deposing governments part, right? Like the HR frowns upon all of that. But there's quite a few skills that transfer right over, and we're able to harness the power of that. So where you need a leader, our guys, again, can learn what you do in a quarter or two, but your very best leader it wouldn't be fair to judge them against this group of people for obvious reasons. So, usually, red states, veteran-owned companies, are like, heck yeah, we'd love that. There's only a few industries and a few places that don't think this is a good idea, and that's okay. We don't serve those markets anyways. For the folks that get it, they love it. And the neat thing is, and I'll throw this out here for all your listeners, is anyone can go to businesssergeant.com as a veteran and sign up for our leadership academy, join our community. No strings attached, whether you want to be placed or you want to start a business. We just have a safe place for veterans come ask business questions, and we like to love on them. We have a ton of nonprofits that we've partnered with because we're not trying to be everything to everyone. But if you need your resume to get worked on, we got a place for that. You need this, we got a place for that. So we're just creating an ecosystem for vets of all sizes and shapes and branches and service years to come and level up. And then ultimately, if they do want to be deployed into a company, we'll do that as well. So, but team building, leadership building, speaking, events, workshops, it's pretty neat to have our cadre show up to your company and kind of challenge thoughts and beliefs and norms. And ultimately, the engagement ends with, we'll take a couple of those guys. That will be good. And that's how we kind of keep it going.
Yeah. So how do you make money off of this? Do you charge the person you're recruiting, or do you charge the corporate guy?
Yeah, with the corporate folks are used to paying contingent recruiters 20-25%. So like we're competitive with regular candidates, but our candidates are anything but regular. So that's kind of, see how that works? I've used that one before. So it's a strong value. We just have a better product at a similar price, and we are mopping up with that value proposition currently.
Yeah, that's cool. How many people you think you've placed?
Well, that's a good question. We just got started, in earnest earlier this year in full transparency, but we're up to about a dozen placements and probably that number more actively searching currently. So we're off to a very good start, and the sky's the limit here as we continue to add staff and technology to increase our reach.
How do you find these people? Do you go to like job fairs or something?
I think there's a lot of message boards, veteran communities, LinkedIn. We have some AI recruiting software that can find anyone, anywhere kind of a thing. Searches Meta, searches LinkedIn. We can triangulate, send people a message. Hey, see, you got this really great business experience and military experience. They're like, check us out. We do this. And it's such a rare thing that we do when we tap people on the shoulder and we have a role for 125,000 and they might be making 80 or 90,000. Like that's a good way to get someone's attention. Speak directly to them. Oh, that's me. What you do, that's me. And it's 20 or 30 grand more than you're making now, which makes a ton of sense. Like everyone could use an extra, X number of thousands of dollars for their life. And we just bring the opportunity to the folks that it resonates with. And then we compile a short list and present candidates and do the background checks and get all the interviews sourced out. And we put 3 or 4 absolute, 95 out of 100 or better fits on the scoring system with the software. And, we're getting a great response that our weakest candidates are some of the strongest candidates that other firms put forth.
Right on. Yeah, AI is great if it's used correctly.
Exactly. I think the way to look at it now, and I know a lot of people are freaked out about it. And I'd be lying if I said one little freaked out myself, only because the people in charge, like the government, like whoever's making calls, like they haven't done well in the last, 10 or 15 years. I think everyone's pretty frustrated with politics and leadership. it's just a toxic, corrupt system. And now everyone knows it. What surprises me is people aren't as upset as they should be about all these taxes, going to nowhere. But anyways, eventually we'll get off our phones and give a shit. But the reality is they're not producing young people like they were 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. That is just the truth. And companies need fired up, all in, committed, accountable, fire pissers to go out there and win in business. And the world is producing them, at about 50 to 70% less than even 5 years ago is kind of some of the data. That's not a scientific number. That's a FMA number from my ass, but you know what I mean? Like, you look at the kids today, and 50% of adults 30 and below still live with their parents. That used to be like a 15% thing. But for all the reasons, so the fact that we have access to folks that are they're not like everyone else, they're exceptional, and they're needed. So back to AI assisted humans are definitely replacing humans that refuse to use AI.
Yeah.
But they're not really wholesale replacing humans, not yet anyways. A lot of people tried that in the last year and it didn't go well. And a lot of people have rolled back some of that thinking. The way I like to look at it, Richard, is why would you not want your people to have another 30 to 50 IQ points? And using AI correctly, it could just make your people smarter, or it can automate the dumb work, the TPS reports, the stuff that we absolutely hate to do, that's very inhuman and repetitious and soul sucking. So if we can get you an AI agent to do your dumb work, so you have more time to do the fun work, where humans building relationships, discernment, those are things that AI is nowhere close to making decisions and making friends. So let's let the humans make more decisions and more friends and spend more time in the sweet spot that ultimately makes them valuable, and delegate all the stuff that an EA in Philippines could do without the time difference or, all the back and forth. So that's kind of my line on AI. And I have a bunch of big clients and medium clients and little clients, and everyone is kind of figuring this out together.
Yeah. I love AI. Well, I'm an IT guy, first of all. So my pay job is IT. But if you use it right, I love it. But when these dipshits get a hold of it and start making fake videos and stuff, that just irks me, man. I hate that.
Yeah, no kidding. No, like, for sure. I've always been like, wanted to be a filmmaker, so I've played around with it, but like the realistic stuff, it doesn't look right. You know what I mean? You could tell it's AI, and it's almost worse. But some of the animated stuff that I'm working on right now, it's actually a lot of fun. And CGI, AI, like, whatever, it doesn't matter. And that's where I'm using it, because my partner and I have been talking about, how do we get noticed? So we thought like a cartoon making fun of all the silly stuff in the civilian business world and how a military operator could solve it. So we're going down the rabbit hole with that, and I'm having a lot of fun. But it's tricky because you got to make like 5 scenes, 10 scenes to get it without something stupid happening. So it's so frustrating. But when you pull it off, it's like, that would have cost 200 grand for Pixar to do it. I just did it for, a couple $100 in AI credit. So, I think it's fun to play around, but I don't think like that's really replacing humans.
No,
It's just not to the level.
no. So what I'm talking about is I saw a video, I think it was just today on TikTok. It was a military funeral, and the casket was lined with military on both sides in their uniforms. And a little girl comes up, yanks the flag off the coffin and yells, "I want my daddy back." And you could totally tell. I'm like, that's blasphemy, man. Like, whoever made that video needs to get kicked in the nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just poor judgment, right? Just because you can make a character do something doesn't mean you should, right? But at the end of the day, the brain rot, the doom scroll that we face, it seems like the people with the most views, it's the dumbest stuff. So like, I think there should be some decorum around, obviously, fallen military. Like, Gold Star stuff is nothing to joke about.
Exactly.
So I would agree with you. That is a no-fly zone and really bad taste for someone to do that.
I honestly think it was just some one of those kids that you were talking about living in his mom's basement that's pissed off at Donald Trump, and so he's trying to make him look foolish by having this little girl crying. And I mean, like, and then the people that are like follow that kind of stuff, they feed into it, and it just snowballs. And it's like, dude, that's not right, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of psyops. I have a 21 and an 18-year-old son. My 18-year-old's pretty based, but the 21-year-old's a musician. And the people he runs with, once in a while, he'll make a comment and I'll be like, you still live here. So this is like, don't go too far off that edge there because like the rent's double for one of those guys. So you like oh, that's a great idea. You need a higher paying job because you're going to need to pay some more taxes to pay for these ideas. Like I'm sick of, I pay a lot of taxes as an entrepreneur for many years, and I'd feel a little bit better about that if they were spending it wisely. But we all know it's not even monopoly money. I think people playing a game are a little more concerned with the currency than the government is currently.
Yeah, yeah, and that's another thing, not to get on the politics, but, everybody loves Elon Musk. Donald Trump hires them to go through some stuff. Everybody hates Elon Musk, trashing Teslas that they're not even his Teslas. Some guy's driving a Tesla, you trash it, all because he's working for Trump, you hate Trump. I'm like, it's just it's a weird dynamic in this country.
Well, it's just asinine, the brain rot. Again, these are the educated people who are inclusive, who will kill you, cancel, or burn you if you don't agree exactly what they say. So, like,
Yeah,
to all my blue friends out there, take your party back. The only problem is the party's being run now by the far left, and they're gaining momentum.
yeah,
So,
mhm,
I mean, the truth is, Richard, someone that you would consider a hippie in the 1960s, a flower child,
yeah,
would be a pretty center right, almost a
yeah,
crazy conservative. And the common sense just doesn't exist, not to mention the policy sucks and it's yet to be effective anywhere it's been deployed. But other than that, it's just TDS, and there's a lot of TDS out there. And I have some family members with some TDS, and believe me, the guy's not perfect. There are so many things I wish he could do differently, but closing the border and letting Americans vote, like these are not wild, crazy concepts.
yes,
These are, the fact that the Blues, not a single one will think voter ID is a good thing, but these are the same people that make ID for everything else. So like I don't know. I'm purple. I've got some blue leanings and some red leanings, but
yeah, for sure,
like
yeah, same,
I'm a libertarian. I'm actually a registered libertarian because
same.
I like to vote for whoever makes sense. Right now, it's hard to like you're picking the lesser of two evils is really what you're doing right now, and that's unfortunate. But to go full send, everything this guy does is bad. It
Yeah,
just doesn't make sense because that's not how it works. There's some good stuff. There's some bad stuff. If you got to be far this way or far that way, I don't think most people that I respect and have relationships with are kind of in the middle. They're purple, but both party isn't
yeah.
really being represented by their base. So it's just a weird time for everybody.
Yeah, the, year that, Trump actually lost to Biden, I did not vote for Trump that year. I did not vote for Biden that year either. I voted for the, independent person. But, when they lost me, the whole, men competing in women's sports and
Yeah,
men going
that's
up,
a tough one right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
the bathroom situation, like, you guys lost me, man. Like, I'll vote red all day long now just to get you out of there.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people are in the same situation because, like, there's only so many mental health disorders that require as a treatment plan that everyone else just plays along. And that's kind of what I felt that situation. Like, hey, whoever you love and how you spend your private time, like you do you. I
Yeah,
think 30 years ago we would have said, burn it with fire, and now we're like, just don't put it in my face. So like the point is there's been quite a bit of ground made on that and many other topics,
mhm,
but it's never enough. And like, if I had a daughter with a TBI because she got ran over by some mediocre male now masquerading as an elite level female, like I wouldn't stand for that. So like, it's asinine. And it's good to see the NCAA, giving the medals back to Riley Gaines, the swimmer, the female swimmer, right? That was second everything, but she was just an amazing female athlete, and it's really neat to see her have the gold
yes.
medals now, and not some dude who was like rated 1050th or whatever the rating was.
Right. Yeah, but I feel like that wouldn't have happened if Trump loses that election. It would have
Yeah.
snowballed down that hill.
Well, Biden somehow got another 20 million votes than anyone's ever got, and I think that people are starting to smell the the herrings, under the sun, and it's just an interesting time. Social media has, like you said, caused it easy to
Yeah,
stoke division. Everything this guy does bad, and it's so easy. And when you hear it all the time, you start to believe it. So I think
Exactly.
everyone's kind of figuring out the whole thing's a psyop, and you should really think for yourself. And anyone, again, who is far this way or far that way, I think they're reading into the narrative. I think most reasonable human beings are in the middle and should be able to have a conversation. But again, the inclusivity and the openness that was once a virtue is now not there. And Corona, hey, this is how we do vaccines. We're not doing it this time. Trust the science.
Yeah.
We now learn the 6-foot thing was just made up by Fauci.
Yeah.
Fauci also, I guess, recently he got caught for lying. They did fund Gainer research. It was Wuhan, China,
Yeah.
and there needs to be some receipts. So I'm just looking for some politicians. I don't care if they're left or righties. Anyone who broke the law in the last few years, we need to get some perp walks, because if they're not going to go ahead and arrest these people, everyone should open a Leering Center in Minneapolis, right? Like, let's get
Right.
I got 1,000 people in my Leering Center. How's your doing? Like, if they're not going to prosecute it, then I think they're
Yeah.
they're really in a spot, all right, there's just going to get bigger.
Yeah. That's pretty maddening, right?
Well, it's just blatant frauds. It's not even millions, it's billions of
Yeah.
dollars. Like a
then,
billion is 1,000 million for the record. That's a lot.
That is a lot. And then, you have the left calling the Trump administration a bunch of Nazis and fascists, but then you want this dude from up there in Maine or wherever, he's literally has a Nazi tattoo, and you guys are all over this guy.
Yeah, and then until he was not electable, right? Then they dropped him like a hot rock. So again, the hypocrisy, the irony, it's 800 pounds. It's thick. You can cut it with a knife. It is really out there. My point is, if you just pay attention and you realize you don't have to believe this or that, you're a free thinker. You're a free person as a U.S. citizen for now, anyways. I think common sense is kind of making a comeback, although when the media is 90% blue and the government's 90% blue and education's 90% blue, and the blues are smarter and meaner than the reds. It's that they're better at politics and the voter fraud and the all the dirty tricks, right? Politics, right? It's supposed to be dirty and because of that, it's really gotten to the point where I don't think we as citizens are being represented, and the framing fathers would all be spinning in their graves to see what they've done to the Constitution. And I'd like to think that things are swinging back, but the pendulum, like the further it goes to the left, the further it goes to the right. And that's what we're experiencing right now. And it's just a weird time to be an American. I think there's no other way to say it, but I think we could get it back. Like, I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
But who wants to run for office? You know what I'm saying? Like the way it happens these days, anyone worthy of the role probably wouldn't want it.
Yes, I wouldn't want that.
Some days I think about it, but then my wife's like, "No, we don't want that. We have a nice life. There's no reason to do that, because then you're just under constant assault, fake ones. There are no rules. There's no decency." And when you look at like how dirty a pool gets played, like if I can have a Leering Center with 1,000 students making millions, then what's the point of being a politician, I guess, right? So like,
yeah. And one last point, both our president and vice president have immigrant spouses, so I think we can stop saying that they don't like immigrants.
Yeah, I don't think the white supremacy, that is a talking point. Now, for sure, there's some folks on the super far right that have some beliefs that I might not believe in. But again, just like people that are on the far left, you do you. I'm going to do me over here. But I don't think we could scale either one of those positions, and I think that's kind of the problem right now. Let's get to the middle. And why don't we find a way to be bipartisan again and work together? What a crazy idea that you could vote across the aisle. Now, I don't think there's any real across the aisle voting to speak of. It's party lines, and then so it's really down to the elections. And I think there's enough data and information that elections are far from secure. And as an American, regardless of your politics, anyone advocating for, I like that we can cheat and win. That is un-American, not to have free and fair elections. So like my big pulpit here, it's just like, let's get that voter ID passed and let's see which concepts win in a fair election, and let's do that. That's what the founding fathers wanted for us.
Yeah, exactly. So, what's next for uh, your organization? Where do you see this thing going?
Well, we're, like I said, we're relatively new. We've only been at
Yeah.
it for a while, and we're getting great feedback. We're making, placements. Those placements are making a very big impact. I'm getting emails a month or 2 months in saying, wow, you did not oversell this. We thought this would be a bit of a flyer, and it's everything you said it was. So we just want to scale it more. I'd love to do, hundreds of placements annually. The more we do, the more lives we can change on the company side and on the veteran side. So obviously, if any business owners are listening, or know somebody that needs people, we'd love to make the connection. A rising tide raises all the ships in port. So we're, the more we can do in revenue, the more we can give to our nonprofit partners. And we are a for-profit business, but our aim is to be quite a bit less profitable than we could be by putting it back into the ecosystem, because it's not just about the money at some point. It's about leaving a legacy, making a positive impact, and doing whatever we can to strengthen this great nation. Whether healthy business, healthy families, healthy communities, all this stuff is connected. We do quite a bit of wellness stuff too. Let's not forget 22 veteran suicides a day is completely unacceptable. And we give to nonprofits that deal with that problem directly. So the more business we can do, the more we can fund, making a difference in that very important topic.
Yeah, that's what Minutes Wisely is all about. The nonprofit that I started. So what we do is we send veterans and first responders to awesome events, say like football games, hockey games, professional games. So and our goal is to not just send them to the game, but we hook them up. And what I mean by that is we'll pay for their drinks, their dinner, their parking, and we put in the best seats that we can. So our goal is to, when a veteran goes to one of our events, it gives them the wow factor. Like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, life really is worth living, and it gives them something to strive for. Like, hey, that was awesome. I would love to do that again. So let me get out of this funk and work harder, because life is really what you make of it, right? So I kind of feel like somebody told me a long time ago, save when next time you fly, save all your money up and fly first class. That way it motivates you. You're like, whoa, that was awesome. I don't ever want to sit back there again. So that's kind of what my nonprofit does. And we've been doing it for about 3 years, and we've put 198 butts in seats since we started, and it's pretty awesome, man. I love to see their smiling faces at events.
That's wonderful. I love what you're doing. Like, that's your jam, and you've
Yeah,
already made 200 impacts, and that's exciting. So like this what's neat about the veteran community is everyone has their own little thing. I love yours because flying first class or sitting in the club seats or on the glass at a hockey game, like that is a lot different experience than being up on the third deck,
yes,
close to the roof. Bring your Kleenex, you're going to get a nosebleed, and
yeah.
now you're in the primo seats. It's definitely an enhanced experience, and I'm really, really glad that you're able to provide that for vets.
I mean, it helps me out because I love seeing these guys. I mean, it's a win-win situation all the way around, and like you said, like, if I wasn't doing this, there's no way heck I would spend $500 or $600 for these seats for one seat, right? But if I'm able to do that, and all I'm doing is asking the community, "Hey, can you all donate, or can you come to my fundraiser because this is what I'm going to do with the money?" And like it's an awesome. Uh, I love it. And the only thing I ask is, "Hey, while you're at the event, just send me some pictures, man." And
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yep.
smiling ear to ear, I love it. It's very rewarding for me, that's for sure.
Well, good for you. I'm glad you're able to have a healthy outlet to help other people. I think if everyone had a little bit more service in their heart, we'd be able to solve some of the problems.
Yeah.
Everyone's a selfish jerk on their phones all day. Humanity's these smartphones are not making us smarter. So I would love to see a bit of a return to kindness, humanity, national pride. America's awesome. That's the other thing. Like the Constitution says, like, this is how we operate. And some of these new candidates are actively trying to take down the very thing that built the nation. So I don't think that's going to work. And the places where a lot of these people come from are not great places. So, like, bringing what wasn't working somewhere else to try to bring here to a place that does work, like, I don't get it. So, like, I quite frankly, back to the helping people, instead of spending $1 billion on some NGO and having the politicians keep 700 million, right? Why not just send $1 billion to wherever they're at? And with the economy and the dollar being so strong, the impact would be so much greater in the places where these problems occur. So I think we need to rethink about, like, how we're doing this,
Yeah.
because quite frankly, our budget, the US budget, the tax base, we shouldn't have homeless people, certainly not homeless veterans.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? People shouldn't be starving. Like all of these problems we have are super solvable if we would just hire people to actually solve the
Yeah.
problem,
Yeah.
not talk about the problem ad
Right.
nauseum and then never solve it while they enrich themselves.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that's a bipartisan comment. I want to see some politicians in handcuffs like yesterday,
For
so
sure.
we can get back to taking care of our citizens, which
Exactly.
should be the first priority.
A great example is back in 2008 when everybody was losing their jobs, everybody's losing their houses. I mean, you had CEOs and CFOs fighting for a job that me or you would be going after, right? And what did the government do? They went in and gave money to the banks. So why didn't you just take that money, give it to the American people, let them pay their debts out? The money still goes to the bank, and it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, well, the banks got better lobbyists
Right.
than the citizens do. So,
Yeah,
like, back to Washington, term limits, uh,
definitely.
and more rules around how the game is played. Again, the whole reason to be there is to represent your people and
Exactly.
fight for their rights, not use them as
Mhm.
an instrument to enrich yourself. I mean, the biggest gripe that I have with all this waste, fraud, and abuse is the very people who purport to want to help people are using the hurt group of people
Mhm.
as the topic, and then they're not actually helping them. So to me, like this,
Yeah,
like why everyone can't see what's happening
yeah,
is the shocking thing
baffling,
to me.
baffling.
Yeah.
And, when Congress was first put together, it was supposed to be, that congressmen or women, but it was men at the time. They were doctors and lawyers, and they lived in their city, and they helped their citizens. A couple times a year, they would go travel to Washington, D.C., bring their stuff to D.C. Okay, this is what my community needs. And they go back. They actually had a job. It's not like that anymore. This is my job. And when I started, I was broke. But when I got out of Congress, I'm worth $150 million.
Yeah, like again, there's enough of those scenarios where I think they're somewhat being investigated. But again, who's guarding the guards, as the
Yeah.
old quote is? There needs to be some accountability, and short of that, we're just going to continue to watch it happen. And it's that's the wild thing. Is like there's enough data, but when the system itself doesn't want to stop it,
Yeah.
then unfortunately other things need to happen, and that's why we're having these big events and things that kind of set us back, and it's unfortunate. So hopefully we could square this away without going further, closer to, like, God forbid, a civil war or something like that. Like that'd be like, let's that's going to be bad. Not That's going to be bad for everybody.
Yeah.
So let's try to be adults here and find our way once again. That's what I'm hopeful of that. I really
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
But some days it's hard to be hopeful when you see just how deep and bad it is.
I think the problem is, man, like people need to turn off. First of all, you need to turn off your social media for a while. Just go out and take a walk. Second of all, turn off mainstream media too, because they're pitted against us. I know it's just wild. So if I lived the way the media wanted me to, like I would be at war with my neighbor who's a different color than me, a different race than me, a different religion to me. Like turn all that crap off, go outside and love thy neighbor. It's not that hard.
Well, again, the whole Christian nationalist is a pejorative term, and all it is someone who loves America and loves Jesus. So it still says "In God We Trust" on the dollar bill. So like maybe that's your God or my God or whatever, and maybe we could open that up. But this was founded as a Christian nation, and it is the crown jewel of the world. We have the best military, right? The best economy, like all kinds of diversity. That the thing actually works. People come here. And it's like, wow, this is like the World Cup just happened. And now there are these videos saying, well, the media said this
Yeah,
was happening. Like none of that, at least there's very little of that actually happening. This is what I found. So it's really neat to see people kind of break through the clouds,
yeah,
especially because the world media is just as off as ours is. Like again, if you're into the cabal, the deep state, the world order, the Illuminati, the aliens, I don't know. At this point, a few years ago, the aliens weren't on the table for me, but I'm now open to any eventuality because as I see things happen, that would almost explain it better than anything else. I can't even explain how things are. That's why I've opened up. I don't have any hard data or evidence, but as crazy as things have been, I'm no longer surprised by how crazy things are.
right.
So that's why I think you just have to be open to anything. And again, look at the data. If it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, flies like a duck, swims like a duck,
Mm.
it's probably a duck.
Yeah. For instance, when Joe Biden was in office, it was a hard time getting people to join the military. That goes away. Pete has Hegseth takes over, and the United States Navy met their quota like 2 months ago.
Yeah, that new Top Gun movie didn't hurt either, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. I was actually on the ship when they filmed the very first Top Gun movie 100 years ago.
What was that? The Enterprise, the
Uh,
Forrestal? What was it?
so, in the movie, it was the Enterprise, but all the filming was done on the USS Carl Vinson.
Carl Vinson. Okay, that's where you were assigned. Yeah, you said scuttlebutt earlier. I pegged you for a Navy guy. That's a nautical term, the
Yes.
scuttlebutt, right?
Yes. I even got my 3-year-old granddaughter calling her underwear skivvies.
Nice, the skivvies. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a long history of sailors in my family, so I'm very proud to have donned the uniform back in the
No,
day.
that's great. Yeah, thank you for your service. I think that's
Yeah,
great. Like wherever you serve, like everyone contributes in their own way, and not everybody gets a chance to right storm machine gun nests and parachute
right.
into enemy territory.
Yeah,
So most veterans, did their thing, ready to go, wrote a blank check to the U.S. government up into including your life, and just showing up, putting the uniform on, regardless of what you did for however long you did it. That's compulsory military service might be a good idea. Maybe send some of these.
yes.
Folks over to different parts of the world to see how those concepts actually play out. Maybe they would have a different experience if they saw how it actually operated.
Yeah, so I tell this story all the time. I was in Mombasa, Kenya, in the mid '80s, and I was walking down the street. Most of the countries we went to, they spoke English and their native language, right? So, Mombasa is so third world, like nobody spoke. It was very rare to find someone that spoke English there. It was all Swahili. So I'm walking down this the road here, and it was right by this very iconic place. I remember it from a high school where the big giant elephant tusks go over the road. I was right there, and I'm just like, oh my god, my history teacher would crap her pants if she knew I was standing right here right now, and I'm just in awe, right? And this lady comes up to me, and she's got a newborn baby all swaddled up, and she's crying, and she's like doing this, trying to give it to me, and I was like, whoa, whoa, I can't take that. And so, but she loved her baby so much, she was willing to give it to a complete stranger because she knew that stranger was from America. And I would love to get on national TV and tell this story because all you people that are crying about this country have zero idea what's going on out there. Zero.
Yeah, I mean it's not hard to look. The information is there, but if you don't want the truth, you're
Yeah,
right, then you're not going to find it. So I think
that's true. Yeah.
that's like the division that has been so over many years strategically. And if the population is fighting amongst themselves and they're distracted, they're not looking what the government's doing. So I think this is the best thing about social media, right? We just said it's bad and it's
Yeah.
rotting the brains out, and it
Yeah.
is. But the good thing about it is it's much harder to have like when I think back to like the 70s or the 80s, like has anything even changed? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is the system even different? We weren't allowed to question it, or Before they used to say, this is the news, you decide. Now the media says, this is what happened, or this is how you should feel about it. And it's clearly not independent journalism anymore. It's corporate or political stuff. And it is Russian level propaganda. When you talk to someone from Russia, they truly believe the world is like different, because Russia is really good at freezing out other media and having their own. And when you said, like today in 2026, the U.S. will have Russian level psyop campaigns. You said that 30 years ago. You're like, no way, that would never happen. So like, back to the smarter and meaner. There is a big system that's been put into place over many years, and it's going to take a while to unravel that system and get us back to a place where we can have more of a moderate centrist appeal, and we don't have to alienate folks. We can just try to help them. Again, we have all the resources, so it's really sad that the rich are getting so much richer and the poor are getting so much poorer. The middle class has left, and that has also been strategic. And America does best when the middle class is thriving. So I would really like to see that happen. And even as someone who pays, a fair amount of taxes, had some success in business, I'm happy to write those checks if I knew it was going to good use. Right now, last few years, just grit your teeth and send it off and, do your duty. But I'd like to feel better about it. And I'm sure the people receiving that would like to feel better too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I always I paid so much taxes this past year. I was telling everybody that I paid for the Iran war all by myself.
Yeah, a few missiles, anyways, right? They're not cheap. So
Yeah, but I am very blessed though. The VA just said I was 90% disabled, so now I get a little bit of tax-free money back.
well, that's the system, right? And if they said that's what you are, that's what you are. So like totally understand the benefits for veterans are important and, really shouldn't be cut. And we got to take care of our veterans, and the system itself, hopefully is getting better. The VA, the healthcare, I get a lot of feedback that some VA hospitals are actually functioning quite well, while others continue to run like the federal government, not well.
Yeah, so I ever since I've been out, I kind of refused to go to the VA because I didn't trust them. Just hearing whatever everybody else's nightmares have had over it. But in 2024, my doctor told me that I had cancer. And so as I was going through the process of going through all the scans and all the tests and then surgery, then all the aftercare, uh, getting sick in this country will definitely bankrupt you. It's out of control. So after I had my surgery, I told my wife, yeah, I said, I think I'm going to go to the VA just to see what it's like. So maybe I can, like, if it comes back, I have a backup plan because I don't want to open up my checkbook again because of something stupid. And so I did that about a year ago. And I'll be honest with you, I've been kind of impressed. I mean, it's a one-stop shop. You go in there, your doctor's like, oh, I want an x-ray. Sends you right down the hall, get x-rays. Oh, I need some blood. Sends you down the hall, get blood. Like, literally everything's in this big, giant, massive building. And I don't know if I want them cutting on me or anything, but I'm slowly, checking them out.
Well, it's great. I'm glad you're having a good experience, and it's great to hear that the care in general, and I've heard the same things. It's getting better. So kudos to the VA for getting their shit together. They should, considering the amount of money that's been put there over the last few decades.
And what aggravates me is now Congress is wanting to cut some of the VA benefits, like for tinnitus and sleep apnea, which sucks because I have both of those. And I'm not saying that for me, but I'm just saying there's a million veterans that are dealing with this, and you could literally die from sleep apnea. My doctor explained it to me. She's like, my sleep doctor. She said, "Oh, like, so what happens is, for you to have an instance or like an event, that means you stop breathing for 10 seconds in your sleep." I had 53 and a half events when I did my sleep study. So that meant in 1 hour. So that meant I stopped breathing for 10 seconds times 53 times. Like, that's pretty freaking significant, right? And so what happens when you stop breathing? Your heart stops too. What happens when your heart stops? The blood puddles and pools up. And then when it kicks on again, it splashes out. And that's how you can have a stroke or a heart attack. And they want to take that care away. It's insane to me. And so if you want to save money, how about stop going to endless wars Then that might be a good idea. I don't know.
or get the rest of the world to participate, so it's not such a heavy burden for the United States,
Exactly.
which
Yeah,
which
exactly.
seems to be one of the larger issues the last few decades,
Yeah,
certainly as of late.
exactly. Yeah, I'm not opposed to war. I'm just opposed for us flipping the bill every time something crazy happens in the world, you know?
Well, 250 years as a nation, I think we got 238, 242 years at war. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the U.S. is known, right, for its military might, and that's the biggest expenditure we have in the budget next to our national debt, I guess,
And
this
it should
year.
and it
The
should be.
interest payments on the credit card are bigger than that, or will be soon. So yeah, I think I would agree. There's a lot of information coming out from Gulf One, Gulf Two, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know if the ROI is what we thought it was, and that's unfortunate to sit down and talk to vets, especially one that've lost limbs or lost friends, and what was it for? It's different than if Canada wanted to come over the line and try to take us. Like,
Mm.
I think we could take Canada. I
Yeah,
think Minnesota could take Canada. But anyways,
right.
uh, all joking aside or whatever, the stuff that we're up to, like, it's a different world. The geopolitical situation, like, look at like the Ukraine deal. They are in trenches, World War One. So we went from all this regression, right, to those tactics. But you're in a World War One trench, trying to take feet, not miles,
Mhm.
and now we got hyper realistic first person drones that can just say, blow that one up. I mean, it's just to see the high tech and the low tech
Yeah,
together. It's very unsettling.
right.
And I think technology as a whole is something we need to be very careful. I mean, obviously AI,
Mhm.
that's scary. Again, like I said earlier, the people in charge of it, I'm more worried about like who's making the calls than rather than what's happening, because of the track record of everything we've whinged and whined about here for an hour. Disgruntled. They should call this the Disgruntled Vets podcast, right? Where we
Real.
we we
Yes.
we know we know it's broken and we can fix it. Or no, we can't be bothered to fix it. We're just going to tell you it's broken.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just sit back in armchair quarterback everything.
There used to be those two old guys on the Muppets that used to
Yeah.
sit up there, right? And they used to rip on the show in general. I feel like that's kind of like what we're doing here.
That's
And the older I get, the more I feel like one of those guys in the upper deck going, "What the heck's
yeah.
going on?"
Yeah. Clint Eastwood in that, Torino movie. "Get off my lawn, zipperhead."
Yeah, yeah. I think the way to go about things today, right? Like, be kind,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
carry your own water, be open, but at the end of the day, being an American is a certain thing, and I think
Mhm.
we are still
Yeah,
looked up to for the most part. And the people that want to kill us, we probably should invite them over to dinner a lot. That's probably a good idea. These oceans separating by design, it's kind of a neat deal. Just our geographic location, we're like impossible to invade just geographically,
right.
and we have millions of guns. So that's why the Japanese did. The emperor's like, "There's a rifle behind every blade of grass," I think was the
Yes,
the the,
correct.
the quote. So
Yes.
again, if we ever had to mobilize, we know who's going to win, because the Minuteman of men and women of today, they're a little bit better equipped than we were back in 1775, 1776.
Yeah, and I think if you go to war, man, take politics out of it and just unleash the dogs. I had a good friend back home in Detroit. He was a Navy SEAL, and he said when he went on missions, there'd be like a C-130 flying overhead with CIA in it, making sure they did things right. I mean, that's not right, man. We're at war. Like, unleash the dogs, take care of it, go back home to your family.
Yep. Again, all these geopolitics and energy and monetary and you know, um, Death to America, and there's a lot of issues. It's complex. It
Yeah,
like back to World War II. The Axis wanted this, and the Allies didn't, and it was a very simple. Everyone had a uniform, right?
mhm,
The Italians, Germans, and Japanese. Okay, those are the Axis power. Everyone else is the Allied power, and good versus evil. It was very easy to understand. It was what, 4 or 5 years of a big hoo-ah, and everyone came home and
Right.
moved on, and those were really good years for America, the 50s and 60s. And then, like I said, the powers to be, I don't know who these powers are, but they decided we don't want that, we want this. So whatever is going on, it is baffling. I don't think anyone really knows, other than the receipts that are dropping now aren't being looked at and learned from. That's my biggest concern, is the truth is kind of out there, and people don't seem to care. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a twilight zone for me, how things are, how they are. But again, I think everyone, you have to worry about yourself and your family, and I think everyone's doing that probably a little more than they should, and we should be worried about the nation. So, God, country, family, team, work, play, whatever the hierarchy used to be. I think it's me is first, and other people are a little further down. And
Yeah.
we should all stop being selfish little jerks, and try to be good citizens of the world, and great Americans. And
Yeah.
I have a ton of pride in the country. And again, I'm hopeful we can turn this around. And I think we're going to have to. If not, then whatever. I
Yeah.
got a rifle. I'll show up where I need to show up.
Yeah. If you want to honor that man that's in the casket with the flag draped over it, be a good American. Don't let him die in vain.
Yeah, I think that's a good message right there. Respect is Mike Tyson quote. People have been disrespecting people on the internet, and not getting punched in the face. And generations of that now have,
Yeah. Why?
like religion and politics, right? We've talked a little bit about some of those things today, which are not advisable things to talk about, right? Because it's impossible to have these comments land 100% anywhere. So we've told people, hey, don't talk about religion and politics. Now we have a whole generation of people that are incapable of having an adult discussion about religion or politics. And we can't really defend our positions, because a lot of these positions aren't defendable. So people just hurl the insults or the slurs, or, you know what I mean? You can tell when there's not a good argument when we get into the feelings, or we just start regurgitating the propaganda versus actually having a discussion. But it's hard because
Yeah.
people are emotional, and
Yes.
they're hurting. And when you're pissed off and emotional, that's not a great state to be reasonable. And I think we're all whipped up, kind of ginned up in this us versus them thing going on right now, or us versus us, I think is a better way to describe what's actually happening. And I really just want people to see what's going on here. And it needs to be us versus them, the government who doesn't serve us. And as soon as that happens, and we start electing some politicians that actually want to help their communities go back to like where it started and not enrich themselves, then I think we got a shot. And again, until we hold some people accountable for some very clear breaches of trust and laws, I think it's going to continue to be funky until some accountability shows up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a privilege to be an American. Start acting like it.
Of all the, like, our population as a percentage of the world is actually quite small.
Mhm.
So to be an American is absolutely of all the places you could be born, you did about as good as you could.
Right.
So like, let's not throw that away,
Yeah.
or try to bring a sad culture to a happy place. Like, doesn't make
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
Yeah. And if you don't believe it, go to Mombasa and ask that lady that was trying to give me a baby.
Yeah, that's heavy stuff right there. Most people haven't experienced something like that, and yeah, I think all vets that have been outside the country, regardless of where they're at or what they're doing, have a much better picture of what that actually looks like.
Yeah. And that one, 10 minutes out of my life, it stuck with me. And that happened in the mid 80s. I remember it vividly. And I have dreams about it, like I've never forgotten that little baby and his mother.
Yeah, that's heavy stuff, man. So like, totally get that. Back to the gravity of what it is to be an American, and it's not. I do think mandatory military service, and maybe if the military isn't for you, could join the Peace Corps. Like, I think these young kids need to get off their phones, off the they need to join IRL, which stands for in real life. I'm
Yes.
told, right? And
Yes.
I think they need more IRL in their life. I know I'm try like heck with my boys to, hey, give me that thing. Let's go to the range. Let's
Yeah.
go,
Exactly. Yeah.
walk, go for a hike, walk some mountains, like do some stuff that doesn't involve technology.
Yes. And before I let you go, because we're at an hour right now, but you mentioned that you wrote a book.
I did back in 2017. It's called the Business Sergeant's Field Manual. Subtitle is Military Grade Business Execution Without the Yelling and Push-Ups. And it is looks like a military field manual. And it's dog-eared and beat up, and there's 82 lessons and stuff that I learned in the military, stuff that I learned as a leader, and things I brought to the civilian business world, and stories about scaling companies, crashing companies, using business operating systems, and then harnessing the power of a military leadership mindset in the civilian business world
Yes.
is really what the book is about. And that's 9 years ago. Probably took me a year to write it. So a decade ago, I felt military leaders could add value. And here I am a decade later, actively placing
Yeah.
people into companies. So it took me a while. Sorry, everyone. I was distracted doing other things, but I think I'm on target with my partner, Michael, and we're really enjoying being able to be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
How does one find your book?
If you go to Amazon, I think LinkedIn is a great place to check out my content. I'll share this interview there.
Yeah.
And then the website, Business Sergeant, is www.bizsgt.com, because God knows in the military we abbreviate and make an acronym out of everything. But if you just search Business Sergeant, it'll pop right up there, and you can reach me, email at chris@bizsgt.com. So I'm super easy to get a hold of, but I'd love you guys, your listeners, to connect with me on LinkedIn and
Yes.
follow me there for more.
Yes, I will definitely look you up. And I have one more question for you. But before I get there, I just want to remind everybody that we have tickets available if you are a veteran or a first responder or a Gold Star family member. A couple of events to take note of are my wife and I are flying to San Francisco. We're going to go see a Giants game, and we're going to pick up a couple of veterans in San Francisco and take them to a game. And that is coming up in a couple of weeks. It's like the August 8th and 9th is where we're going to be there. Looking forward to that. On September, I forget, the last Sunday in September. I don't want to throw a date out because I'm going to be wrong. Last Sunday in September, I am flying to Detroit, Michigan. I'm going to take 3 veterans to a Detroit Lions game. The game starts at 1:00 p.m. As soon as that game's over with, we're going to walk across the street. We're going to catch a baseball game at Comerica Park. Detroit Tigers versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. 2 professional games, one day, all completely paid for by Minutes Wisely.
Wow, that is September 27th, Richard. Sunday, September 27th is the date there. I just looked it up while you're dropping out that information. So there it is. If you're in Detroit.
If you just roll over to minuteswisely.org, and there's a form that you can fill out for there. Each event has its own form. Fill it out. Somebody randomly will get picked, and we're going to treat you to an awesome event. The September 27th. So the August one, I'm really looking forward to because that's where I was stationed at when I was in the Navy in the Bay Area in San Francisco. So I'm going to take my wife. She's never been there. I'm going to take, and we've been married for 34 years since I left there. I'm going to take my wife and walk down my old pier and show her what it looks like out there. The Navy base is no longer there, thanks to Bill Clinton. But there is the USS Hornet, a aircraft carrier is there that you can go walk through. But my pier is still there, so I just want to go walk my pier one last time and show my wife how big a Navy pier is. That's going to be amazing. But I'm also really looking forward to the Detroit one because I've always wanted to go to 2 games in one day. I'm going to knock it out and take some veterans with me.
Bucket list. Way too long, and you replace the B with an F. It becomes a bucket list if you don't get to it. So good for you. Solid on you for checking something off your bucket list.
Yes, life is too short. I learned that last year when the doctor said, you have cancer, wreck my life. And I promised myself, cancer may take my life one day, but it will never take my will to live.
Hoorah, Richard. Kudos to you, man. happy to see you're doing so well.
Yes. Okay. One more question. I always try to get something profound out of my guests. And so I have a question. I have a list of questions here, but I'm going to go with this one. What's something you're proud of that most people don't know about?
Wow. Doing the right thing when no one's looking a lot, having opportunities to do some things and passing on those because it didn't feel right. And it takes 20, 30 years to build a reputation and about 5 minutes to lose that. So that's the one thing that I constantly remind myself that it could all be gone. One bad decision, one bad relationship, one bad event. And just to fully appreciate the gravity of your reputation, like your legacy, what you leave, it's all you have. Everything else is comes and goes, but that's something that means a lot to me. And I hope after I'm gone and my sons, meet people that knew me, that your dad, insert something really cool, and a bunch of those stories would be what I'm shooting for. My core focus, my big hairy long range goal is not a financial number or a number of countries visited. It's an impact number, right? I just want to screw up traffic the day I die,
Yes.
because everyone came for those reasons. Right now, I might be a stoplight or two. Who knows?
Right.
But I'm talking like full traffic Armageddon. I work hard every day to make an impact, and I won't know, right? I'll be in a box, but that's just kind of my weird sense of humor. I'm just working hard to make an impact, and one that lasts hopefully longer than my meat suit does here on planet Earth.
Yes, I love it. And I also, when I'm gone, I'm hoping, my kids and my grandkids look back and say, damn, my grandpa saved lives, man. That's so awesome. And maybe they carry on the torch.
Yeah, that's what we can hope for, right? Making a lasting impact and
Yeah.
and doing it right and going out on our shield.
Yes, sir. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and I would say BSing, bitching with me for an hour. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
I did. Thank you for the conversation. Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully I didn't ruin my reputation in an hour that I spent 20 years. All joking aside, I think it's okay to have thoughts and share those, right? And don't yuck my yum, as I like to say, and I won't yuck your yum. Do you. I'm going to do me.
Yeah, exactly. Just because I may think different than you doesn't mean that we have to hate each other. I think that's where we get lost in this country.
Yeah, I agree. We need to be together again.
Yeah.
I long for the day where we can have intelligent conversations, healthy discourse. Unfortunately, the tenor and the meter and the style of the communication is the opposite of that. And I'd really like to see that return. So hopefully more people will take chances and have conversations like the one we had. And it's okay if you don't agree with what we say. It's fine. That's the whole point of freedom of speech. So when people aren't allowed to express their opinions, that's fascism right there. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
keep it classy, America.
Yeah. No bueno. All right. Stick around for a second while I hit the stop button. Make sure you're all uploaded. And until next week, peace out.